Prime Minister's upcoming five-nation tour. For this briefing, we have Secretary West, Shri Simi George, to give us an update on the developments that will happen during the course of the five-nation tour. For this briefing, he is being assisted by Srimati Pooja Kapoor, Additional Secretary, North Europe, Shri Piyush Srivastav, Additional Secretary, Europe West, and Shri Ashim Mahajan, Additional Secretary, Gulf. With that, I turn it over to Secretary West. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Randir. My colleagues, Additional Secretaries Pooja Kapoor, Piyush Srivastava and Asim Mahajan, my dear friends from the media. This visit is about 5 countries, so my opening remarks will be slightly longer. So we would be very happy to take questions after that. Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi will be undertaking a 5-nation tour from 15 to 20 May, which includes the United Arab Emirates and 4 European nations, the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway and Italy. Prime Minister will begin his visit from the UAE on 15 May, where he will meet the President of the UAE, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and exchange views on bilateral relations, in particular energy cooperation, as well as regional and international issues of mutual interest. There are regular high-level exchanges between both the countries. You would recall that the UAE President paid an official visit to India on 19 January this year. The Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, His Highness Sheikh Khalid, was also visited India in February this year to participate in the AI Impact Summit. We share a comprehensive strategic partnership with the UAE, which has continued to deepen in all spheres of relationship. During the visit, both the leaders will discuss avenues to further deepen our bilateral ties in areas including trade, investment, energy, technology, culture, and of course, people-to-people connect. As our MEA spokesperson said yesterday in his press briefing, discussions will be held on strengthening our bilateral cooperations. Discussions will also focus on strengthening our energy security. I repeat, energy security, which is an important aspect of our relationship. As you are aware, we have a community of over 4.5 million Indians in the UAE, which is a living bridge of our relationship. My colleague, Additional Secretary Gulf, Mr. Asim Mahajan, will further brief you on the visit to UAE. So let me now proceed with the other part of the visits. The visit to the 4 European countries comes in the backdrop of the India-EU FTA that we finalized earlier this year, and the India-EFTA TEPE, which was entered into in 2025. During the visit, the 3rd India-Nordic Summit will also take place. In our Amrit Kal journey, next 20 years, when we strive to become a Vikasit Bharat in 2047, India considers these countries as important partners in our Make in India initiative, aimed at transforming India into a manufacturing hub. These visits will focus on our 3 T's: trade and investment, technology, particularly green technology, innovation, startups, and of course, again, people-to-people connect. Let me now brief you on each of the visits to the European countries. On May 15 to 17, Prime Minister will be in Netherlands. This would be Prime Minister's 2nd visit to the Netherlands. Last one was in 2017. The visit comes at an important juncture in our bilateral ties. During the visit, Prime Minister will hold bilateral talks with the Prime Minister of Netherlands. He will also meet Their Majesties King Willem Alexander and Queen Maxima. Prime Minister is also expected to address the Indian community and meet top business leaders of the Netherlands. Our partnership has considerably deepened over the last few years across traditional sectors of trade, investment and priority sectors of WA, that is, water, agriculture and health, as well as people-to-people ties. In recent years, cooperation has further expanded into strategic areas of technology, innovation, defense, security, semiconductors, renewable energy, education, and the maritime domain. Further, people-to-people ties remain a key aspect of India-Netherlands bilateral relationship. The Netherlands is home to over 90,000 non-resident Indians and persons of Indian origin, alongside over 200,000 members of the Suriname Hindustani community. Around 3,500 Indian students are currently enrolled in various universities there. The forthcoming visit carries a rich and substantive agenda. It is expected to consolidate the new and strategic dimensions of the partnership that have emerged through the sustained efforts of both sides. Now let me proceed to Sweden. On 17 May, Prime Minister Modi will undertake an official visit to Gothenburg, Sweden. This will be Prime Minister Modi's second visit to Sweden after his landmark visit in 2018 for the first ever India-Nordic Summit. The forthcoming visit reflects the growing depth of India-Sweden ties under the India-Sweden Innovation Partnership announced in 2018. Sweden today is one of the world's most innovative economies, and India and Sweden increasingly view each other as complementary innovation and technology partners. During the visit, Honorable Prime Minister will hold consultations with the Prime Minister of Sweden covering the full spectrum of bilateral relations, including trade and investment, green transition, AI and emerging technologies, resilient supply chains, defense cooperation, space collaboration, climate action, and people-to-people ties. Prime Minister will be the chief guest at the European Roundtable for Industry, a high-level pan-European CEOs forum representing business leaders from European Union, IFTA, and UK. Prime Minister and President of the European Commission, Her Excellency Ms. Ursula von der Leyen, would also address the forum. The economic and commercial relationship between India and Sweden is on an upward trajectory, with bilateral trade reaching USD 7.75 billion in 2025 and presence of over 280 Swedish companies in India and over 75 Indian companies in Sweden. There is robust cooperation in climate action and sustainable industrial transition. India and Sweden jointly launched the Leadership Group for Industry Transition, LEADT, the first multilateral initiative aimed to decarbonize hard-to-abate sectors at the UN Climate Action Summit in New York in 2019 in partnership with the World Economic Forum. The two prime ministers subsequently launched LEADT 2.0 at COP28 in Dubai in 2023. During the AI Impact Summit in February this year, India and Sweden signed a statement of intent to establish the Sweden-India Technology and AI Corridor to strengthen cooperation in AI, emerging technologies, and innovation ecosystems. Defense cooperation has also emerged as an important pillar of the bilateral relationship. Swedish company Saab has established its Carl Gustaf manufacturing facility in Haryana, which is Saab's first such manufacturing facility outside Sweden and the first facility in India under the 100% FDI route in the defense sector. India and Sweden also enjoy long-standing cultural and academic linkages. Indian diaspora in Sweden, numbering over 90,000, serves as an important bridge between the two countries. Prime Minister's visit will impart fresh momentum to the India-Sweden partnership and open new avenues of cooperation across the three T's: trade, technology, and talent. Let me move on to Norway. On 18 May, Prime Minister will travel to Norway at the invitation of the Prime Minister of Norway on an official visit for bilateral engagement and the third India-Nordic Summit to be held on 19 May. This will be the first visit of Prime Minister Modi to Norway and will mark the first prime ministerial visit from India to Norway in 43 years. On 18 May 2026, Prime Minister will hold talks with on 18 May 2026, Prime Minister will hold talks with Prime Minister Stoll. It would provide an opportunity to shape and develop an ambitious agenda of cooperation in the areas of trade and investment, innovation, clean and green tech, blue economy, and cutting-edge advancements. Prime Minister would also have an audience with Their Majesties King Harald V and Queen Sonia. Prime Minister Modi, along with Prime Minister Stoll, will address the India-Norway Business and Research Summit, focusing on trade, technology, and investment to promote implementation of India-FTA Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement, TEPA. There are ongoing discussions on climate action, including cooperation in carbon capture and storage, offshore wind, battery technology, energy efficiency, etc. India and Norway have been jointly undertaking several research expeditions and capacity building initiatives in the Arctic region. There is ongoing collaboration in the space sector as well. In 2026, ISRO installed its antennas at the KSAT's facility in Svalbard. The discussions of the between the Prime Ministers will shape the direction of a forward-looking India-Norway partnership. The third India-Nordic Summit will take place in Oslo on 19 May. Prime Minister Modi will be joined by the Prime Minister of Norway, Prime Minister of Denmark, Prime Minister of Finland, Prime Minister of Iceland, and Prime Minister of Sweden for the summit. Nordic countries are important partners of India in tech and innovation, sustainability, renewable energy, and digitization. The summit will be an opportunity to review the progress of India-Nordic relations since the second India-Nordic Summit held in Copenhagen in May 2022. India's relationship with Nordic countries has been on an upward trajectory since then, with deeper trade and investment linkages and growing sectoral cooperation in the areas where Nordic countries have great strengths. India's bilateral trade in goods and services with Nordic countries has reached $90 billion, with exports at $9.5 billion and imports also at around $9.5 billion. Over 700 Nordic companies operate in India, and around 150 Indian companies have a presence in Nordic region. So there are very important milestones in our engagement with Nordic in the last few years. This summit will help in expanding our multifaceted cooperation with the region and provide an opportunity to exchange views on global and regional issues of mutual interest. It will also impart a more strategic dimension to our relationship with the Nordics in tech and innovation. Prime Minister will also hold bilateral meetings with the Prime Ministers of Denmark, Iceland, and Finland on the margins of the third India-Nordic Summit. Now let me move on to Italy. At the invitation of the Italian Prime Minister, Madam Meloni, Prime Minister Modi will pay an important official visit to Italy on 19-20 May on final leg of his tour to Europe. This would be Prime Minister Modi's first bilateral visit to Italy and third overall. Prime Minister's program in Rome includes a call on the President of the Italian Republic and bilateral engagement with the Prime Minister of Italy. Prime Minister will also have an interaction with select Indian and Italian CEOs. In addition to the bilateral element, Prime Minister will also visit the headquarters of the Rome-based UN agency, Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. India is a founding member of FAO since 1945. The visit to FAO underlines India's commitment to multilateralism, global efforts to address food security, sustainable agriculture, and rural development. The visit to Italy is taking place in the backdrop of growing momentum of India-Italy relations. The two prime ministers have met 7 times since 2023. Their regular dialogue has been instrumental in driving the upward trajectory of bilateral relationship. The visit will be an opportunity to review progress and identify new areas for collaboration under Joint Strategic Action Plan 2025-2029, a comprehensive roadmap for cooperation across various domains of bilateral cooperation adopted by both leaders in 2024. Economic and commercial cooperation is a key element of our partnership with Italy. Bilateral trade is currently to the tune of euro 40 billion. We had 3 business fora last year, which has further provided boost to our bilateral trade in sectors such as manufacturing, automotive, machinery, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, textiles, infrastructure, logistics, food processing, and renewable energy. Science and technology and innovation will be another area of focus of cooperation, which we will explore cooperation in emerging technologies, clean energy, joint research, and mobility of academic and researchers. Our defense cooperation has also broadened with regular dialogues, service-to-service ties, and exchange of port visits. As you may be aware, the Italian defense minister had a fruitful visit to India last month. Both sides are also exploring avenues for defense industrial collaboration, co-development, co-production of defense equipment. Both sides will also discuss on enhancing maritime security cooperation. Both India and Italy strongly collaborate in security domain. The two prime ministers had announced joint initiative to counter financing of terrorism last year. We have a vibrant Indian diaspora in Italy, estimated around 2.5 lakhs. More than 6,000 Indian students are pursuing academic courses in various universities and institutes across Italy. Discussions will also further focus on expanding, enhancing this collaboration. Several key agreements and MOUs are expected to be signed during the visit, which will further strengthen the institutional framework and diversify areas of cooperation. Prime Minister's visit will further deepen the India-Italy strategic partnership, expand cooperation across a wide range of sectors, and enhance coordination on regional and global challenges. Let me conclude by saying this. Coming in the backdrop of the conclusion of the historic India-EU FTA earlier this year, as well as the signing of the India-EU Security and Defence Partnership, and the comprehensive framework of cooperation on mobility at the EU level, the visit of the Prime Minister will further reinforce India's ties with Europe in key sectors of trade, investment, innovation, defence, security, technology, green energy, and people-to-people ties. We will share more details as the visit progresses. I will stop here. We will be very happy to take questions. Thank you.
Before that, Asim, would you like to add some elements of our energy partnership with UAE? I would request you, please.
Thank you, Ranjit. As all of you are aware, and already it has been briefed that the Honorable Prime Minister will be visiting UAE at the first part of his leg of the current visit. With UAE, we share a very vibrant partnership in the area of energy. The UAE is an important partner in our energy security. Last year, the UAE was the 4th largest source of crude oil, meeting nearly 11% of our requirement. In the area of LNG, Indian companies and the UAE Abu Dhabi National Oil Company ADNOC Gas have entered into long-term supply contracts for cumulative of 4.5 MMTPA LNG to India. Some of the recent contracts include between IOCL and GAIL signed agreements with ADNOC in February 2024 for 1.2 MMTPA and 0.5 MMTPA respectively. IOCL signed a third long-term contract for 1 MMTPA in September 2024, and HPCL signed a 10-year agreement with ADNOC Gas for 0.5 MMTA beginning in 2028 during the visit of His Highness President of UAE to India in January 2028. This makes India the biggest buyer of UAE's LNG. UAE is also the largest source of LPG for India, meeting nearly 40% of our requirement. On the UAE is also the second largest destination of petroleum, oil and lubricants export for Indian refiners. Indian companies have also invested over US $1.2 billion in the upstream sector in the UAE. In 2018, a consortium of Indian companies, OVL, BPRL, IOCL, took up 10% stake in Lower Zakum block in the UAE. In 2019, Indian joint venture company Urja Bharat Private Limited, JV between BPRL and IOCL, has taken up stake in Abu Dhabi onshore block 1. In January 2026, BPRL has confirmed an oil discovery in Abu Dhabi's onshore block 1. These are the first of their kind upstream investments by India in the region. The UAE is also the first country to partner with India in the strategic petroleum reserves. In 2018, ISPRL and Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, ADNOC, entered into an agreement for the UAE to store over 5 million barrels of crude oil in ISPRL's facility in Mangalore. India and UAE are also expanding cooperation in the area of renewable energy. An agreement has been signed between Masdar and the government of the state of Rajasthan in October 2024 for setting up of 60 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity. Besides this, both countries are also working on a feasibility study for electricity intergrid connection. UAE is also an active founding member of the Global Biofuels Alliance that was launched in September 2023 during India's presidency of the G20. So, as I have explained, we have a multifaceted partnership in the area of energy with UAE, and we continue to strengthen this further. Thank you.
Thank you, Asim. With that, we open the floor for questions. We start with Siddhant.
Hi sir, I'm Siddhant from CNN News 18. Sir, I have two questions. One regarding Prime Minister's visit to UAE. As Asim sir rightly pointed out, we already have deep cooperation with UAE, and since now UAE is out of OPEC Plus, it would be more feasible for us to be buying more energy from UAE. Talk to us a little bit about this, as this is Prime Minister's first visit after UAE coming out of OPEC. And second, sir, there is not being talked about the pipeline thing which is being planned. Is there going to be any significant announcement regarding that during Prime Minister's visit? And sir, second question to Secretary George sir. Sir, as far as the ASML in Netherlands is concerned, in fact there was this team from India which visited Netherlands, the ASML unit, and we have been trying best to bring them and be a part as far as Semiconductor 2.0 project is concerned. So is there going to be any announcement perhaps for a partnership with ASML for semiconductor projects going on in Gujarat? Thank you.
Nishi.
This is Yeshi Seli from Business India. I have two questions. One is, has the conflict in West Asia impacted the supply of energy products to India? And if yes, how many, are there any ships stuck in Hormuz where you've sourced the oil or the gas from UAE? And are there going to be any discussions on I2U2?
Rishi.
So good evening, this is Ayush Sharma from ANI. I have two questions. First on UAE, the energy aspect of the relationship. As Asim sir mentioned in his remarks, earlier this year India announced a 10-year LNG supply agreement with UAE, which is beginning in 2028. During the Prime Minister's visit to UAE, will there be talks to further expand energy cooperation, including more LNG supplies, given the recent tensions in West Asia? And second question, sir, will there be any discussion on the IMEC corridor, both with the UAE president and also with his Italian counterpart? Thank you.
Manish.
Manish Chand, India Rights Network. Sir, what is the overall contribution of Nordic countries to our energy security calculus? And secondly, China is a major trading partner of all these Nordic countries. We trade in much, much larger volume than India. What are our competitive strengths, when we look at scaling up relations with Nordic countries. And related to that is that this summit is being held after a hiatus of 4 years. What will be the showpiece outcome here? Thank you.
Neeraj?
सर नीरज हूँ न्यूज 18 इंडिया से हम यहाँ सर हमारा सवाल यह है कि 28 फरवरी के बाद जब से ईरान युद्ध की शुरुआत हुई बहुत चुनिंदा देशों के राष्ट्र प्रमुख ने ही यूएई की यात्रा की है। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी का दौरा भी महज कुछ घंटे के लिए हमें जो अब तक जानकारी मिली है। हमारा सवाल यह कि क्या भारत द्विपक्षीय संबंधों के अलावा और एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी के अलावा एक सिंबॉलिक मैसेज भी देना चाहता है। सऊदी अरब और पाकिस्तान करीब आ रहे हैं, यूएई और ईरान के रिश्ते को हम लोगों ने देखा किस तरह से तनावपूर्ण है, तो एक सिंबॉलिक मैसेज देने की भी कोशिश है भारत की तरफ से प्रधानमंत्री के इस दौरे के द्वारा।
Sir, we can take these questions and then come back for more.
Thank you, Ranveer. Thank you very much. In fact, questions I would cover together. A few questions were related to the visit to UAE and also on the outcome of the visit. As I briefed in my opening remarks, we have a very concrete agenda covering the entire spectrum of bilateral relationship with each of the countries, with the UAE, with the Netherlands, with Sweden and Norway, and of course the other members of the Nordic countries. We have a very concrete agenda which is included in the discussions and also engagement with the business community in these places. So as far as the particular outcome of the visit is concerned, we will continue to brief you as the visit progresses. Then the question again related to, as you said about UAE, the visit is coming after UAE came out of the OPEC on the pipelines. All this we will continue to brief after the discussions proceed. Again on ASML, with regard to the semiconductors, of course, this is an important, semiconductors is an important area of cooperation and collaboration with Netherlands, and we will continue to engage Netherlands at every level on this, and it is part of the discussions Honorable the delegation will have during the visit of the Honorable Prime Minister. Again, I would we would be briefing you after the visit on the whether the topics which should be covered, particularly with regard to the ITU2, IMEC. All these have been raised, but we'll continue to update you as and when the visit takes place. On the situation in the Hormuz, the ships, etc., I think we have regular briefings being given by our Joint Secretary, our spokesperson, along with other colleagues in the Ministry of Shipping and Petroleum. So I think that would be the best forum to answer the questions related to that. On the Nordic countries, their contribution, yes, it is happening after a few years, but again, energy is an important area of cooperation. But the most important element is that there is considerable complementarities. What are we looking for at this stage? As I mentioned, it is the 3 T's: trade and technology and talent, people-to-people connect. In each of these, trade and investment, green technology, innovation, these Nordic countries are doing very well. They're small economies, but total GDP would be 1.7 trillion USD, around 2 trillion USD is the GDP of these countries together. So it's an important partner for us, particularly when it comes to 3 T's for us. So there is huge complementarities, and we look forward to taking it forward. So 3 T's, technology, trade and tourism, we look forward to working with these countries. Then I think I will leave it at that. Azim, if you wanted to add something.
Thank you, sir. On the question of energy, as I tried to highlight earlier, that UAE is a very important partner for us in the area of energy. I did mention that it is the fourth largest source of, it was the fourth largest source of crude oil last year, the third largest source of LNG for India, and the largest source for LPG for India. During this visit also, we have various, energy partnership in the area of energy will be an important area of discussion. And we have various agreements which are also under discussion, but I would not like to prejudge their outcome. So as Sir has mentioned, we will brief you post-visit. Thank you.
We'll take some more questions. We'll go from there. Abhimanyu.
So I'm Abhimanyu Sharma from, out here, sir. Abhimanyu Sharma from CNBC TV 18. I have two questions. So firstly, any reason why the finance minister's Russia visit has been cancelled? And so secondly, the US Treasury Department had given a waiver for a month for Russian oil. So has there been any conversation on any further extension? Will India stop the purchase of Russian oil?
Uma, first.
So I'm Huma Siddiqui and I've got two questions. One, by when do you, say here sir. By when do you, the India FTA is expected to be done, signed? And my second question is, we are already buying LPG from Norway, so would there be any kind of an agreement or an MOU signed to expand that buy from there?
Sudhi.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Shudhiraman from Bloomberg. So on the UAE leg, so if you could give us an understanding whether there is any possibility of a long-term, not a gas contract, but, oil contract that we are looking at. And also on the security and the cooperation front, what kind of discussions are likely, sir?
Madhu.
सर मजरन बैंक न्यूज नेशन से यूएई के संदर्भ में डिसाइड यूएई के संदर्भ में आपने दो बातें कही, एक तो एनर्जी पर आपने जोर दिया और दूसरा स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप में। तो क्या भारत यूएई और इजराइल के बीच कोई ट्राइलेटरल स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को लेकर भी बात होगी, क्योंकि I2E2 के संबंध में तो आपने कहा है ऑलरेडी, तो इस पर एक मेरा जोर है। दूसरा सवाल इटली विजिट को लेकर है। भारत और इटली के बीच आपने जैसा कि बताया कि स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप और खासतौर पे डिफेंस टाइप के क्षेत्र में काफी कुछ बातचीत होने वाला है, तो क्या मुद्दे होंगे खासतौर पे, चूंकि नेवल भी दरअसल एरिया है, डोमेन है जिसमें बातचीत होने की बात आपने कही है।
Akhilesh.
Sir, I'm Akhilesh Suman from DD News. Nordic countries are supposedly very good in green technology, clean technology. So what type of cooperation are we going to announce in this visit? And also, sir, will there be a joint declaration in after the India-Nordic summit?
Awad.
Thank you, sir. The question is to Mr. Mahajan. Sir, they just wanted to know after the devastation war currently happening there, is there any change in the Indian strategic thinking of increasing the reservoir of the petroleum from the Gulf countries, like offshore, onshore, to meet the Indian demands? Thank you.
So we can take these questions.
Thank you again. I think I would not would like to respond to the questions related to Russia or the Russian oil and other things. We have articulated our position on many occasions, and also, our spokesperson would be the right person to respond to such questions in his weekly press conferences. On the India-EU FTA, yes, that is a priority. We are working with European Union to have it agreed to at the earliest. So we will be, please keep tuned in for response, an immediate outcome coming up. On the energy cooperation with Norway, of course, that is a very important element. We would be discussing the energy engagement with Norway and also with other countries. I have seen your interview recently on related to Norway, so I know where that question is coming from. On the long-term, gas agreement or related to UAE, I would leave it to, and also on the UAE energy strategic partnership, again, my colleague Asim will respond to those questions. India-Italy strategic partnership, yes, it's a very important partnership. As I have briefed, that defense cooperation constitutes an important element in that relationship. We would be having very, I would say, productive discussions on the defense and security collaboration with Italy in the forthcoming summit meetings, and we would definitely keep you informed about the progress on that front. India Nordic, there would definitely be a joint declaration which would be released after the summit meeting, which would cover also the issue which you raised about green technology. So please again remain tuned. We will keep you updated. Asim?
Thank you, sir. As I mentioned earlier, and I reiterate it again, that energy is a very important pillar of our partnership with UAE. I have earlier listed out multiple long-term, contracts on LNG which we have signed with them, and I have also mentioned that we continue to discuss with them in this important area of cooperation. There are agreements which are under discussion between both sides, and I would urge you to wait for our post-visit briefing, because these are under discussion, and as I said, that we would not like to prejudge the outcome. There was a question on the strategic petroleum reserves. I did mention that UAE was the first country to partner with India in the area of strategic petroleum reserve, and these discussions, of course, strategic petroleum reserves discussions continue. And I think there was a question on IMEC also. I can just supplement that question with this, that the India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor is an important project for both countries, and especially in the context of UAE. We had signed an intergovernmental framework agreement on IMEC in February 2024 under this initiative, and both sides are working on a virtual trade corridor, which is a Maitri interface. We have highlighted this on multiple other occasions also, how it will facilitate trade and improve the ease of doing business and other various other benefits of the virtual trade corridor. So that is what I have to add. Thank you, sir. Yes, defense and security are also important areas between both countries. You mentioned about, as I have mentioned, that we will of course continue our discussions in this area, but I would not like to, on the defense cooperation especially, it has emerged as a strong pillar of our comprehensive strategic partnership in the last few years. There are service level exchanges between armies, navies and air forces which are active. The visit of His Highness the Crown Prince of Dubai and the Defense Minister in April 2025 was also an important visit in this context. And as you are aware, we had signed a letter of intent for the conclusion of a strategic defense partnership framework, which was signed during the UAE President's visit in January 2026. And both sides continue to work on the implementation of this vision, and discussions on defense cooperation, given its strategic importance, are a very likely feature of the meeting between the both leaders.
My colleague, Additional Secretary Europe West, Shri Piyush Srivastava, will add a few points.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, friends. I just wanted to add, there was a question on ASML and technology collaboration with Netherlands. Netherlands is very important partner as far as technology, especially semiconductor and digital domain is concerned. If you recall, we recently signed an MOU on semiconductor and critical emerging technologies with Netherlands. And there is also institutionalized collaboration between the institutes, top technology institutes from India like IITs, along with the institutes in Netherlands, supported by industry. From our side, there are top industries like Tata and all, and from their side, an XP. And discussions are continuing with all the companies. In Netherlands, one important thing is that it is the largest investor from EU and fourth largest overall in India, with the volume of over $55 billion. And trade also, it's among the largest trade partners in EU, particularly for exports. Netherlands is third largest destination of Indian exports, and of course largest in EU. And last bit is on Italy, with respect to IMEC, as my colleague has already mentioned. This is an important corridor also in the present geopolitical context, and Italy is a very important partner in this regard. As you may be knowing, very recently they held a meeting of stakeholders, I think some couple of months back. So this will also be an important area of discussion. Thank you.
नीरज, आपका सवाल का जवाब मैं देना चाहूंगा. देखिए, जैसा कि हमारे कोलीग ने कहा, भारत और संयुक्त अरब अमीरात के बीच में जो बहुत पुष्ट और घनी साझेदारी है, पिछले कई एक सालों में प्रधानमंत्री की 7 यात्रा हो चुकी है यूएई की, और वहां से उनके राष्ट्रपति की हमारे देश में 5 बार यात्रा हो चुकी है. इसके अलावे उनके यहाँ से उनके राज परिवार के कई एक लोग यहाँ आए हैं. तो आप उसे समझ सकते हैं किस प्रकार का ये साझेदारी है और इसको हम लोग कितना महत्व सिर्फ हम नहीं, दोनों देश एक दूसरे को देते हैं. ये जो इस बार की जो प्रधानमंत्री की यात्रा है, इससे इस मित्रता को, इस साझेदारी को और इसमें घनिष्ठता आएगी, और आप देखेंगे कि कई एक सारी अग्रीमेंट, एमओयूज इसके दरमियान किया जाएगा, जिसमें कि जैसा कि हमारे कॉलीग ने बताया, साथी ने बताया कि ऊर्जा सुरक्षा पर विशेष ध्यान दिया जाएगा. Pooja, would you like to add some facts and figures about, since we are talking about trade and investment, all these countries are very important investment partners for India, and I would just like my colleague to talk a little about the kind of investment partnership we have with countries such as Norway, Sweden, etc. Pooja.
Thank you, Randhir. Just to add to what Secretary West has already said, apart from foreign direct investment, of which we get substantial amounts from various European partners, another investment that we get from Norway, for instance, is from the government pension fund, which is about $28 billion. And we are looking to increase basically the investment that they have in Indian capital markets. Other than that, in all things green and blue, the Nordics are our partners of choice. So whether it's the green transition, green energy, green shipping, green hydrogen, green everything, and the blue economy, you will see a number of partnerships and interesting decisions coming out over the coming days, on which, as Secretary West, we will brief you in real time. Thank you.
So was at any stage was a stopover in the Vatican planned, as reports had suggested, or is it may happen, not happen?
This visit is to
Italy. During the visit,
bilateral visit to Italy, going to
during the visit to Italy,
the capital.
Okay.
So that is where it is, no?
So this is Agni from ABP. High-level representative from UAE is supposed to reach Delhi by tomorrow, and Prime Minister is expected to meet all BRICS foreign ministers before his trip to UAE. Can you throw some light on that meeting, sir?
So BRICS, several leaders from across the world, some have already arrived, others will be arriving for the BRICS foreign ministers meeting. We have shared with you some of the details of the BRICS foreign ministers meeting. They will also be calling on jointly, calling on the Prime Minister, and we shall keep you updated with developments in regard to the BRICS FMM. Thank you. With that, ladies and gentlemen, please do follow us on these upcoming 5-nation tour of the Prime Minister. There is going to be a lot of substance, lot of agreements, and many things that will add to our growth and development trajectory. So stay tuned. Thank you very much.